Well. Another Tuesday, another live YouTube stream.
Another Tuesday. That's how you start off the show.
It's another Tuesday.
Great weather today, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it not a hurricane for you, Tom, finally?
Not a hurricane.
Not yet, right?
Yeah, not yet. I guess Caleb Presley, who's at Barstool, and Marty Smith from ESPN, they're presenting a benefit concert for Asheville and the community affected by the Hurricane Helene. Luke Combs, Eric Church, current partial owner of the Charlotte Hornets, Eric Church, and James Taylor, who sings JT. Not to be confused with JTT, who's Jonathan Taylor Thomas. What is Jonathan Taylor Thomas doing these days?
I'm going to guess not much.
He hasn't been around for a long time.
Yeah.
He's just living off that home improvement money still?
Let's look this up. This is important.
Yeah.
This is important stuff. He has
People
an
ask,
Instagram.
what happened with Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
It's a fan page.
This is from people.com.
Oh.
Return to Los Angeles.
That seems like a resource that would know what happened to people.
Focused on directing, writing scripts, and taking advantage of his free time. Quote, I
Oh,
watch a
that
lot of
sounds
movies. I hike. I stay up on shows and theater.
I would love to take advantage of some free time.
That he had, quote, no regrets about stepping away. What that?
He was last photographed publicly in 2021.
That's a weird thing to have available as information.
You know? It seems like he's part of some sort of Illuminati.
No. Now, what do you mean by Illuminati?
Oh, I don't know.
No,
is there something related to Illuminati that we should be talking about?
Hey guys. The basketball season is about to return. You know what else is about to return? Basketball Illuminati. What timing there? That's 5 years of podcasting right there. That kind of chemistry.
That's the only chemistry you can expect from Basketball Illuminati. As our producer here, longtime producer Zach Harper should know, this is many years in the making. All this chemistry that we have.
Now this is a brand new show, right?
Is it new or is it old? Well, it'll be new to you.
Unless
new episodes of an old thing.
Right.
Basketball Illuminati is returning with new episodes about an old thing, about Tom's Michael Jordan article.
And that's returning in what, like 3 years, 4 years? When do we put that on the calendar?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, son of a gun.
Wednesday, October 9th, the first episode of Basketball Illuminati will be re-releasing. It's a fresh start for us. It's been about a year of no episodes. So we are coming back to the airwaves. I know you've all had that feed subscribed to. You haven't touched it. It's been sitting there in your podcasts, waiting to be reactivated. Apparently, just like Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah.
Will we have an episode about Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Will he comment on basketball doings and happenings?
Subscribe, review, share to find out.
Yeah, keep your third eye open. If you haven't kept it open, it is time to open your third eye because there's lots in the NBA that needs to be explained. And the truth is out there.
How about that?
So are lies.
Oh. I'm almost more interested in the lies. You know?
Yeah. There's lots of lies in the NBA. There's stuff that we're going to have to talk about on Basketball Illuminati, which, you know, Zach, I would like for you to be a part of in not just a producer role.
Yeah.
There are things that you'd like to explain Like, for example, maybe one day down the road, we can try to explain what Ricky Davis is up to. Would that be a fun episode?
Absolutely. That's a whole year of episodes. So we got to carve out the calendar for that one, because that's
you know what? I think we just figured out our tease. To be determined. We are going to do a full investigation at Basketball Illuminati about Ricky Davis, and congratulations to the listeners. I mean, that's going to be in your ears at some point.
I follow him on Instagram, so I can I can DM and see if he'll respond. There's a lot to get into.
Wow.
That's exciting.
If you could co-host a player podcast with any former player, it would be Ricky Davis.
It would
correct?
be Ricky, no question. Absolutely no question.
Do you think he'd be too crazy for podcasts?
No, him? No, he's a normal guy that just likes getting buckets. He's not a crazy dude. He just all he cared about was scoring, which I appreciate about Ricardo.
Well, sometimes triple doubles.
Yeah. Can I tell you what I think is the lamest thing about that triple double attempt? Is the Jazz reaction to it. You let a horrible. So all of a sudden, Deshaun Stevenson gives the hard foul. Gary Sloan, rest in peace, is talking trash and threatening Ricky Davis. You're not mad that Ricky Davis tried to get a triple double by shooting on his own basket or off his own backboard area. You're not mad about that. You're mad that you were a good team who got destroyed by Ricky Davis and a bad Cavs team. That's what you're upset about that night. This has nothing to do with Ricky. This has everything to do with your shortcomings, which is why you still never won a title. It's because of reactions like that, because you couldn't keep your eyes on the prize. So there, Ricky Davis is a hero. We all agree.
Sounds like Salt Lake stands for. Wait, no, I'm going to redo this.
Oh, okay. You got it. Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Ready? Sounds like SL doesn't stand for Salt Lake. Stands for sore losers.
Oh, sore loser city. That's what they call it.
Salt in the wounds.
When you lose to Ricky, they nailed it, man. Don't even need to edit. That is top of the top right there.
Right there. Nailed it.
Before we get into our topics of today, I just found a sock in the bottom of the leg of my sweatpants I'm wearing.
That's a good one.
Pulled it right out of the dryer, put on the sweats. Apparently had a sock in there the whole time. I thought it felt a little weird this morning, but
my buddy Chris in college would, after a night of going out, he would just take his cash in his wallet and hide it amongst his clothes.
You have to. Yeah. You have to. Because then, one, you have to keep it safe.
It's a gift to future self.
Yeah, and two, what a find later on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like you could have found a dollar bill rather than a sock. And think about your day. How much, how exciting it is when you find just a random like nickel on the ground or a dollar.
Are people still picking up loose change on the ground? I don't feel
Did you know that it costs 7 cents to make 1 penny?
I mean, no wonder this inflation's out of control, right? This is...
I mean,
what if you make them in bulk though? Is it 7 cents for each penny, or just if you made 1 penny, that would cost you 7 cents?
Well, there's
you really up the process. How do you?
There's this. We tackle a lot of big space and then an entity like big tobacco, big Nike, big whatever it is in Basketball Illuminati, which we're still teasing, I think, at this point.
I think so. Yeah.
Loose change.
The conservation of change. We talk a lot about that and the balancing act that we do in the NBA. But the thing that I want to talk about here is the big zinc that no one's talking about in this country. Big zinc is keeping
you talking sunscreen
alive. Hate zinc. Zinc is the worst. Wear a shirt.
Why?
Because it's just this white paste that you can't get off your skin. So there's this zinc oxide. I think it's what it's called.
Zinc oxide.
And zinc oxide they've now invented that this is the right sunscreen that you should put on your kids. Okay. So when you put the zinc oxide on your kids, it's glue. It stays there for weeks.
But it protects their skin.
Yeah.
Isn't that the point of it? Like it
seems like it's doing a great job.
And then all these kids are just in whiteface. Like that's what it is.
It is the worst. It's the worst. It drives me crazy. Man. And so now I'm thinking maybe the big textile industry, that's what we need to talk about, because I think zinc oxide is a front to keep people wearing clothes instead of going shirtless. That's what it's all about. Keep your third eye open. It's not just big zinc we have to worry about. It's big cotton.
Keep your third eye covered with zinc sunscreen to protect.
No, because then you can't get it off then, and then it's blocking you, and it's distracting you. I think that's
and it gets in your eyes. Like think like when you sweat, and when you're outside and it's hot in the summertime, you're gonna want to sweat. And who wants?
Well, you don't have a choice. I don't think it's whether you want to sweat or not. You're just gonna sweat, right? Like that's that stuff's gonna come out of you.
100% that we're gonna like find out that sunscreen is cigarettes, basically, right?
I hope so. I just like I like something that we've widely accepted all of a sudden being like, yeah, that was terrible for us the whole time. I love one of those. And then about 10, 15 years after that, we go back to, it's actually fine. Those are my favorites.
If you could rank. Okay, let's do it. Rank, this is the new cigarettes. Okay, things that we're going to find out in 20 years is actually something ubiquitous that this generation uses all the time. And then we find out, wow, we were really wrong about that.
We can't say social media, right? Because we've kind of discovered that social media is horrible for people.
I think that's maybe the number one pick. I think that's maybe number one in the power rankings of this generation's cigarettes. I'm not going to go with 5G because I'm not there. I feel like that's
I'm fine with it. I think 5G is actually going to be fine for us.
Okay.
I have nothing to base that off of other than big cell phone already got to me.
Hear me out on this.
What about laptops? I feel like laptops.
Oh, it can't be good. I don't know if it's bad for you, but it can't be good.
Well, is a laptop more toxic than a microwave?
You're talking to someone who doesn't own a microwave.
I don't want one either.
Microwave.
I got a dumb question. Do people, even if you have one, do people still regularly use microwaves?
I hope not.
I don't feel like they do. I feel like people went to air fryers.
When people find out, they come over to my house and they're like, "Wait, can I reheat this?" And I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna have to use the stove, or you're gonna have to use a pot." And they're gonna be like, "Why don't you have a microwave?" And it's like, because I don't believe in microwaves, and they get really upset. I think Team Microwave is a very strong army of people.
I think another possible one is microplastics in sparkling water. When people try to tell me that sparkling water is bad for you because of microplastics, I go, you're trying to take my sparkling water now. And then if we find out that it's actually killing us in 10 years, like LaCroix is killing us.
Who cares?
Okay. LaCroix. Okay. LaCroix's, you know how it's like the only ingredient is like natural flavors, but they don't like explain what that means.
Guess what? That's not how limes taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't tell me that's a natural flavor.
There's something going on there.
You know what I hope
how did they get away with not having to like describe what that is? Like there's no way that that's not like a Diet Coke chemical.
It has to be. It absolutely has to be. But you know what I hope the answer is for number one? It won't be, but this is what I hope it is, just out of my own personal pettiness. I hope it's paper straws. I would love for paper straws to end up being horrible for everybody. That's what I want.
Well, I went to go make eggs the other day, Zach, and and Allison was like, "Hey, sorry, but I threw away the spatula." And I was like, "Why'd you throw away the spatula? That's great for flipping eggs."
Yeah.
And she said, "Cause on the news it said that black kitchenware, like the black like spatulas,
like the plastics,
it's got carcinogens all over the place. So now you can get wooden spoons, wooden spatulas,
sure,
Yep.
and silicone spatulas, but the actual like
I'm looking at one right now.
It's killing you this second.
Killing.
I'm looking at two actually because I got a slotted one and just one that's full all the way across.
And I'm just like, yeah, that's cancer causing until we find out that silicone is cancer causing.
Right.
And then we gotta throw out this.
And then we're gonna find out that wood causes cancer, and it's one thing after another. One thing, I'd never tell you or your lovely wife how to run the household. I'd maybe replace it before I threw it away. That's just me. I would make sure I got one on deck to replace it.
Crazy thought.
Yeah.
We have one of those icing instruments, those the silicone thing.
Yeah, silicone.
The cake battery thing.
Spreader, yeah.
Not the same.
Not the same at all. No, that's a big
flip the omelet,
That's a big change for you, Tom. Speaking of big changes, Shams Charania head to ESPN.
Yeah.
That's a big change. Welcome to OG Pod. I'm Zach Harper. That's Tom Haberstroh. That's Anthony Mays. Shams is yesterday.
I tried to get him at Yahoo. It didn't work.
I think he specifically left the Athletic because of me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any evidence.
Big breakup for you, Zach.
Big breakup.
A bounce together.
Yeah, we did the bounce together for 2 years. Still,
he bounced.
He did bounce. He followed it to a T. Yeah, he bounced. The bad news is he's gone, and so is his excellent reporting from the bounce. The good news is more real estate for me in that thing. More. It's more me, folks.
You know how that
can't get enough of me.
Paragraph with Shams? No more.
This guy now.
Harper now.
Yeah. Now it's just gonna be 200 more words on Wemby. Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. I'm happy for him. I hate to see him go, but I am happy for him. I think I worked with Shams for about 6 years, or 6 years, I guess exactly, at the Athletic, and he's always been super helpful. Just an incredible teammate, not one to hoard news or make sure that he's the one breaking it. He's a great teammate, great at sharing the wealth, and so I think that's a fantastic move for him, fantastic move for ESPN, and maybe it changes some things over there.
What kind of
Oh no, I just you always want to change and make things better and make your coverage better if you're an entity. So I'm gonna guess it doesn't all have flow through Shams.
Well,
I think people can kind of just do their.
Do you remember the first time you heard of Shams? Like the first time?
Yeah, man. He was young. I mean, he still is young, but he was like real young, and I don't think he was even at Yahoo yet. I can't remember where he was, but I just remember hearing about there's this guy who's like breaking
Real GM,
news.
I think
it must have been Real GM. Yeah. I was gonna say Hoop Site, but I knew that wasn't it. But yeah, I guess it was Real GM. I remember hearing about him, and then I remember hearing how much younger he is than I am, and how much more motivated he seems to be than I am.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that kid's going places.
So where was I? OKC maybe. I'm on a work trip with Brian Windhurst, and Brian, we were at ESPN at the time, and he shakes hands with this kid, and they talk, they move on, disperse, and then he goes, "You know who that is, right?" I was like, "Who's that?" And he goes, "The Chosen One."
Wow.
The Chosen One.
So Wendy just knew. Like this.
He was like 20 years old at the time.
Yeah. And I want to say he was like 20 or 21 when I first heard about him.
And he was like, that kid is going to be running the entire NBA at some point. Like, we're all going to be working for that kid. I was like, why? He's like, he's already breaking news and he's still in college. And now he's at ESPN, which is where Brian works.
Yeah.
And so it's this circle life. It moves a soul.
Lion King.
All I really wanted to do today.
It's just the Lion King soundtrack. That's going to be the rest of the show. We had some topics, but no, we're going to scrap it.
That was it. I was excited. May sent out the little, rundown, and I was like, you know what? That's when I'm going to sing Lion King.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why is Scar British?
Colonialism?
Just one?
Would be my guess.
One of the lions is British? It's because he's evil, Tom. Man? It's because he's evil.
Colonialism.
That's why. You give the bad lion the British accent.
But that's why?
I'm imagining
there's some sort of
Wendy holding Shams aloft from Pride Rock that is ESPN and saying, "Look, the chosen one has arrived. We did it. We got him."
Can I say the thing that pissed me off about last week? Or I guess a week and a half ago at this point when the Towns trade broke is I saw some people who are not necessarily in the industry or like in the reporting game or the journalism game, but let's say they like work for some companies, right? They should know better, is what I'm saying. Is that they're not just a random fan, like casual fan, like they should know better. And they're like, oh, this is now Sham's time to shine. I was like, do you pay attention to anything that's happened in the last 10 years when it comes to reporting? Because Shams has been doing this. Like now is time to shine. Like he's had a 50% of this damn landscape for years now.
It's Zach's time to shine. Okay.
No. I want
yes, you have now the bounce
because of those extra 200 words. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they were saying.
Okay.
They were saying it's Zach's time to shine.
Yeah.
At the bounce. Subscribe wherever
subscribe. It's free. It's free. theathletic.com/thebounce. You get it Monday through Friday. I don't know, somewhere in that 10 to 10:30 a.m. range, Eastern Standard Time, in your inbox. Just open it up, and you don't have to read it. Just open it. Love that open rate. That's all we need. Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense to have Shams over there.
Yeah, I mean the bounce is good, man. I appreciate you think it makes sense. Oh, you're talking about Shams at ESPN. Yeah. Yeah.
Mostly because it opens up more space for you. And speaking of Cat, it's like Shams is Cat and you're Jalen Brunson, and you've got so much more room to operate and write about Wemby and
just Wemby. I'm just going to dedicate it to Wemby. That's all.
Yeah. Wemby Index. Wemby Index.
God, I would love the Wemby Index. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it'd be great. Except it would be kind of a pain to have to deal with Pop every day, right?
No, I don't need to talk to anybody. I'm just going to be like, this guy's great. I like him. That's all it is every day. It's just like, look at this shit. Look how tall he is.
Look what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to San Antonio.
No. I barely go to the coffee shop most mornings.
Yeah, come on. I mean, I cover the Blazers from Charlotte. I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah, you can do like internet, man. You can do anything with the internet now. Yeah. I'm curious for ESPN, like what that does change in the terms of their practices, right? Like like how they go about things. If it'll change the way they cover the NBA, like kind of the depth of how they cover the NBA. Also, like, look, with one guy out and the other guy wasn't in yet, officially, but John Krasinski of The Athletic, not of The Office, wrote this incredible thing on Karl Anthony Towns, what he means to Minnesota and his connection with Minneapolis. And he wrote that, and like that day or the next day, he was on ESPN talking to Malik Andrews about it, right? Like that. Wow. That doesn't happen before.
Mm-hmm.
Like that just doesn't. Like that doesn't happen before. Like that's a change. Like it's interesting.
It's a little more wide open, you're saying.
Yeah.
I do think it's seemed inevitable that Shams would step into the void there. Do you guys think there was any real competition either for Shams' services or for the whole thing last week where ESPN was talking about maybe sliding Jeff Passan across from Major League Baseball into
That's
a
my guy.
basketball role.
I love Jeff Passan.
I think Jeff Passan's great. That's just like there was the Adam Schefter idea, and we know like Adam Schefter is like done reporting on the NBA before, right? Because I guess he knows Chris Paul or whatever. Like I don't really know. Like not that they couldn't do the job, but there's a difference between like, all right, this great newsbreaker from another sport is now going to come in and like handle this on the level it would need to be handled. It always seemed, I guess, not like a smoke screen to me, but just not like a real idea.
Well, this is what I wonder, Zach, on that point. Adrian Wojnarowski went on Jim Rome and talked about Shams being hired at ESPN and offered congratulations. And he said, I hope Shams has as fulfilling and rewarding career that I had. And it's hard to square that with what Schefter said about his life was, Woj's life was. You know, it didn't sound very fulfilling. And the reason why he got out was that it was so fulfilling that he wanted to leave.
Oh, that's why?
Like I'm trying to figure out, you know, how fulfilling that job was, but then he needed to leave. Like it's the whole shower thing. It's throwing me off that he had to shower with the phone. It doesn't sound very fulfilling.
Well,
he theoretically chose to.
Theoretically, Shams is already doing that.
We think Shams is already showering with phones.
Yeah. If he's trying to keep up with this race, here's how you
fix this problem.
How many articles did you write with Shams in the shower? Independent. You both were in the shower writing.
I'd love to clean up that question just a little bit. Yeah, I would just maybe like we.
How many? I mean, why can't you answer the question, Zach? How many times were you in the shower?
I feel like I'm not quite sure what you're asking me. Yeah, so just let's.
Well, you guys were teammates, right?
Like, absolutely,
and he was a dedicated,
one of the best teammates
reporter.
I've ever had. Oh my God, he's the best in the business.
Zach, would you say that Shams was your shower buddy?
Yeah.
No, why would my buddy be in the shower?
Yeah, because just in case there's a story that broke. Why would your dad?
Very fulfilling. So there was a question in the chat. Vince Jamie. Don't know if it's a soft J. Jaime. Yes, I will be on the Blazers broadcast this year. No comment on Root Sports, but we are going to be on a different channel and carrier locally in Portland, Pacific Northwest area, which is really fun because more people can look at my tee, my colored tee with a blazer on it.
Yeah. I got to tell you, it was
82 games.
It was so exciting. Like, cause I would forget periodically and, just throw on a Blazers game last year. And then Tom would get on the screen. I'm like, oh shit. I would it was like always a surprise to me for some reason. It's like when, it's like when you see Zion Williamson on the court, you're like, oh, that's right. He's on the team. Like, oh, this is great.
I'm basically Zion.
You're the Zion Williamson of Portland broadcast. Yes. Where I get excited every time I see you on the screen.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
I love eating too. So this is great. This is a great comp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That rewarding, fulfilling career comment is
let's hear how he delivered it.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Listen, Shams texted me after I announced my retirement, and what I told him is what I would say today, that I hope he has as fulfilling and as rewarding of a career as I've had, and I certainly wish that for him. And
all right, so he does not have a great history with his former protege. We know that they're contentious. They've been competing forever.
He doesn't have a great history with a lot of people.
Does he think that his career was fulfilling and rewarding? I think that's the part I want to drill down on, because Tom's talking about the Schefter comments. Like, we have speculated on why he got out of the game is because it was draining on him.
We know why he got out.
We know why he got out.
We know why he got out.
So it wasn't as fulfilling and rewarding for people close to Woj.
Correct, but what I would say is all he cared about was winning those scoops, right? It's why he was so, what's a word? What's a nice word to use? Demonstrative towards people when they didn't give him the scoop first. Is like he was, to him, that's the fulfilling, rewarding part. So I think for him, that stuff was fulfilling and rewarding. But it's a different wiring in a different way than we like. To us, like I've told people before, I'm like, I would never do that job. I don't care what the pay. Like that job is miserable to me. Being on your phone that much, being in contact with people that much, like all that has to do. I do think I have a solution to the shower issue though. I've thought about this.
Don't shower.
What you need is, and you know, I'm not saying things out of turn here. Woj reportedly made a lot of money, right? Shams makes a good amount of money. I don't know what he's making at ESPN now, but I know he makes a good amount of money. They have the money to install an iPad into the shower wall. You can protect that, so you could have iMessage up and connected on that iPad. Because I think the phone's too small to like have it installed, and I don't think you want to AirPlay it onto a screen because then you know the touch isn't available. But you could have the iPad built in, iMessage up, and then as you're showering, you just take a look. Oh, Rich Cho just texted me about something. Well, I mean, you know, that's a kind of a dated reference there, but you know, I can respond, but you can at least keep track.
Noted leaker Rich Cho, you know.
I don't know why Rich Cho came up.
Well, the problem with that, Zach, is then you have an iPad in the shower that could easily be stolen, accessed.
No, this thing's built into the wall, man. But I mean, that would go with anything in your house.
Piece of tape on the camera too, on the iPad.
For sure. Yeah. But there are safeguards you can do there. That way you're not having to like worry about you're on your phone. Like you got it right in front of you. Wash your hair, wash your legs.
I also like Arthur Mueller's solution here, which is take baths.
Ooh,
you can text from a bath.
Although clean in a bath, like really clean in a bath. I don't think so.
Nothing but baths for years.
Took a bath in the Azores because they didn't have a shower head. Very disorienting.
Yeah, it's not fun, man. It's not fun. I don't like it. I like a bubble bath. You know, just maybe a bubble bath in like a hotel room, like a romantic getaway kind of thing. I think that can be okay. You know, just a bath in your home.
I thought my wife was gonna leave me. That's how disgusting baths were. You know, like you don't need to see. We're just
plus all that zinc oxide on you. Like you're not getting off in a bath.
How else am I gonna get it off? You know,
not
it's
in a bath.
A bath.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you know what? Honestly, I think Shams gonna be great at ESPN. I think he's already on McAfee all the time.
Yeah.
I think he fits that culture. I think he does well on TV. I think he's a great newsbreaker. It sounds like he's a great teammate, Zach.
He's amazing.
And you know, I think it's gonna be great.
I got a text back from, you know, Shams and I didn't text all that often. It was a lot, you know, so if we were communicating in Slack for some newsletter stuff or whatever, but I wouldn't say we were like in contact a lot. He got back to me yesterday when I text him congratulations. You know, it took a few hours, but it's just a good dude. He didn't have to do that. Good dude. He was getting back to everybody.
He texted right back after I congratulated him.
Oh,
no, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wow, that's awkward.
Well, I hope you have as fulfilling and rewarding of a text conversation as I do with most people.
Glad you brought those words up again, Zach, because
those are unique words, right? Those are like we haven't
never been used before,
yeah.
ever, except as a Redditor on NBA Reddit, Mr. In May Pal pointed out. This is the exact same wording that was used in Succession when Shiv is giving a wedding toast to her mom. Let's play that clip.
My third eye is opening.
I hope that your marriage is as rich and happy, rewarding, and fulfilling as mine. So
there you go. I love that Roman reaction as well. look
No.
away, look at the sky.
Now that must be a coincidence, right?
Well, Tom, what do we say on Basketball Illuminati?
No mistakes, no coincidences.
That's right. No
Mm.
mistakes, no coincidences.
Mm.
Apparently, Woj is a noted Succession fan because he's the only one who watches that show.
Yeah.
Nobody else has ever watched that show or
Right.
liked it. But what I've been percolating on, what my third eye has been zeroing in on, Shiv. Similarly, is her wedding, her marriage to Tom Wamsgams fulfilling and rewarding? Does she have the self-awareness to think that it's not? We've seen it.
That's why
No,
Roman
he's
is looking
struck.
at her. Like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We've all seen your marriage. We all know that Tom's a puppet who's a lapdog trying to work his way up. So
I did pretty well.
he
Spoiler
did do
alert.
pretty well.
Did pretty
Spoiler
well.
alert. But at the expense of Shiv
Wamsgams.
to a degree. So the question to me is like the self-awareness aspect. Is Woj self-aware enough to not only say that his career was fulfilling and rewarding, but make a reference to a show where a character is not self-aware enough to know that it's getting deep over here in my head.
It's interesting that now that he doesn't have the pressure of needing to be good on TV. That was the best I've ever seen him on TV.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, like we can talk about that, right? Like he was terrible
He's smiling
and getting
he's
worse
having a good time.
every year with all that training. And there, he looked pretty comfortable. And maybe it was just to deliver that line. I don't know.
I don't know that Schefter does seem like he has a better time in that role, and Passan too. I
Yeah,
think they have
they're much
a
more
lot more
they're much more
fun.
comfortable.
I think they seem to enjoy that a little bit more. And Woj, remember, he was a columnist before he became, the newsbreaker that was known for his Woj bombs. And so I do think it's interesting that he said as fulfilling and blah, blah, blah career as I had. He didn't say at ESPN, he said career, which is like, I don't know. Sham's been at this for like 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
So it is kind of odd to be like, hey, hope you have a great career when he's already been 10 years into this game. It's not like he's an intern at ESPN right now.
Shouldn't you be worried about getting a point guard at a non-basketball school? Shouldn't you be spending your time doing that?
Well, he's the general manager. He's not the
Okay.
recruiter. That's not his-
Guess what?
Classic college basketball general manager.
Yeah. It's a very well-worn
Yeah.
position with
Yeah.
a lot of clearly defined roles.
Hey, speaking of change, guys,
Yeah.
I'm interested in this idea. I was going to write about this for tomorrow. I have not listened
Nickels
to
and pennies? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Big Zinc?
I just wonder why what's the deal with loose chain? I'm just gonna let the reader describe their meaning into that. So I hadn't listened to the conversation. I was actually gonna do it this afternoon, but you had Nate Jones on the Tom Haberstroh show.
You don't have to say that. You don't have to say I was going to listen to it later. You don't.
If you give me a good enough breakdown here, I will not listen to it. No offense. I just I'll just get to writing about this. I am going to promote it in the newsletter no matter what. But I was going to listen to the Nate Jones thing because he threw down the idea of the NBA Gauntlet, right? This is the idea of a point system similar to, I'm guessing, hockey, soccer. I don't really follow those two sports all that closely.
It trailed off a little bit. Similar to, oh boy, I'm in the deep end. I'm swimming in the deep end right now.
I know they get points for wins in the standings, and I know they get points for draws. Obviously, the NBA doesn't have draws, but what is this point system that has been discussed between you and the great Nate Jones?
Well, they say, so Jones on the NBA on Twitter, Nate Jones from Goodwin Sports. He's an agent and marketer. He talks a lot about the NBA business and sports, et cetera, and also wrestling and Monopoly. And those ideas kind of combined into this theory that the NBA, instead of negatively punishing teams for sitting players or yelling at them, we should go a little further with honey than vinegar. We should reward teams for playing on second night of back-to-backs and reward him, give him a little carrot to play Joel Embiid on the second night of a back-to-back, or play on the road a little bit better and at least playing more of their guys and trying hard for 4 quarters. And he came up with the Gauntlet, which is a point system that awards teams bonus points for winning on the road, for winning on national TV, for winning basically in tougher situations, but also elevating the premium product. So everything feels more like an event rather than just another day in the schedule. Because as you know, Zach and Maze and the listeners here, the 82-game season is an 82-game grind. The dog days of the NBA season, the NBA added the in-season tournament, added the play-in tournament, trying to spice up the season a little bit. And I do like the idea of games having points associated with them. So if you win a certain game, it's not just one win, right? If you win 4 games in 5 nights, if you win the 4th game in 5 nights, you get an extra bonus. It incentivizes teams to play their guys and play harder. And it sends a signal. This might be the most important point. It sends a signal to the audience that the players are going to care more, that they're going to play harder, and that this is a cooler, more fun NBA. So the Gauntlet is essentially a point system to reward teams in certain situations when they win games in the schedule. So do we think the NBA needs an alternative to what is the status quo, which is 82 games, win-loss standings? Do you think that the NBA needs to spice up the regular season?
I mean, just off the rip, you could argue everything's fine, nothing to examine further here, because look at the media rights deal that they just signed, right? But the issue still exists of like, how do you make people care more about the regular season, right? Like there are plenty of people that do not pay attention to the NBA until the Christmas games or until football's over.
Yes.
Right. Or at least the regular season of football's over. Like that's just how it goes for a lot of casual fans. And so I like this idea of a point system. Obviously, I think it would make more sense if the NBA did have draws, right? Because I do think that part of the point system in other leagues.
Wait, are you saying free basketball is not actually free basketball?
Here's the thing. It's never been free basketball. We still pay to watch that game or go to that game, right? In some way. So I've never believed in the idea of free basketball. It's fun to say, but it's not actually free.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I would get rid of overtime. I do like overtime. But I think in trying to find other ways to get points into that system, my initial concern is, you mentioned the second night of a back-to-back. Well, what if teams just start sitting out that first night of the back-to-back?
Yeah, that was going to be my point, Zach, is if you incentivize certain situations, you're also decentivizing other situations.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I think the thought is you still get points if you win in the other games. It's just certain games
you might get an extra point. Yeah, got you. Okay. Because you would still want, like, let's say you get 3 points for a win, right? Like just so in general. Just in general. Like if it's like, oh, each win is 3 points and whatever. The idea that like you would still, that first night of back-to-back, there's still 3 points on the board for you to grab by winning that game. And then if you won the second night of the back-to-back, you get an extra point on top of that. So like that's 4 points, right? Or whatever. Like whatever that system ends up being, then like I do think there is something to that idea.
Well, like it would be a reason to buy a ticket if you knew that your team has a chance to win 10 points tonight as opposed to 5. So you're like, ooh, this game matters more, right? And so this is a 10-point game, or this is a 25-point game, whatever it is. And so it doesn't.
This is getting into some rock and jock territory with the 25-point hoop. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, you're basically aligning the goals in the right direction. So it's not like you're rewarding teams for making 10 threes in a game. It's you're rewarding teams for winning.
Yeah,
right?
It's all
and
about
you're
winning.
Incentivizing teams to try harder. Did you know that in the Continental Basketball Association, so the former G League of the NBA, in the 80s, they had a point system, a 7-point system that in any game you could get 7 points added to your standings 3 points for winning, and then 1 point for winning each quarter.
Oh, I don't hate that.
So if you win the game, you get 3 points right off the bat, and then there's 4 points to be won on the side.
Yeah.
So if you're in the fourth quarter and you feel like, you know what, I'm going to actually leave the starters in. We've already lost the game, but I think we can win the fourth quarter. You get a point. And so there's a sweep. You can go 7-0 in a game, or you can go 4-3. You're always going to have more than the opponent if you win the game. But it incentivizes teams to not have garbage time, to actually play for all 48 minutes.
What you're doing is completely eliminating 8 through 12 on Tom Thibodeau's bench. It's just in general with that idea, like you're just like, these guys are never going to play. Like
Tom might be aiming for 7. He might be going for 7.
Yeah.
Might be down to a 6-man rotation if that's the case.
Yeah. I don't hate this idea. I do like that quite a bit. I wonder.
So apparently concessions were way up because instead of people leaving in the third quarter when the game was out of hand, they stayed in their seats. They watched the game all 48 minutes. After more people stayed after the game, and so like businesses after the game stayed open, and so there was like post-game bars that were more beers were being poured because people knew that they had an incentive to stay the entire game to see if their team would get the extra point. I thought what you were going with, Zach, is wait a minute. Are we just making these guys more hurt by trying to get them to play in second night of back-to-backs, playing 40 minutes? Because in a normal garbage time game, Giannis is only going to play 24 minutes. But if there's this 4-point system or 7-point system, he might be playing 40 minutes.
Right.
And so maybe this is actually hurting the product rather than helping.
Yeah, but I think if we couple this idea with moving the 65 game rule to 79 games, you got to play 79 games in a season to get any kind of awards, or really just get paid in general. I think that's what we should move this towards. Now, like I know that
so Mikal Bridges is going to be the MVP every year.
He gets every award, Rookie of the Year too. Like give them all to him. Yeah, like I want. Well, the NBA went back on that already, right? Saying, "Oh, actually, turns out the science behind it isn't real." You know, with like all this like time off and like that seemed maybe not.
They needed
something
to.
That we should believe.
Remember, they were in negotiations with the TV partners during that time.
Do you think that works? I mean, I guess. I don't know if it worked and gave them more money, but they got the deal they wanted.
They got the deal.
Yeah.
You know, hey, the guys are going to play more. Sign up.
Yeah, they're gonna play more. You need to spend more on this. So in this system, we've got. So not all teams have long road trips, right? Like super long road trips. So if you're incentivizing towards the end of the road trip with more, do we have to find a way to balance that out?
Yeah, there's going to be a balance. So we already
you have the rodeo trip, you have the Grammys trip, like all these.
The things. Blazers are the only team in the NBA with a 7-game road trip this season.
Oh, really?
Which is going to be really hard from my chair over there.
It's
going to be
a lot of traveling for you, Tom.
Yeah.
So there's already inequities in the schedule.
Yeah.
In this case, I think the biggest inequity, and what Nate proposes, is national TV games get extra points. So national TV games feel.
This was going to be my next question. Yes.
Bigger is like, ooh, this is a 10-point game. Ooh, this is a 20-point game. Whatever. It's Sunday night on NBC. It's going to feel like a really big game already, but we're just going to turn the volume up a little bit more.
This is just classic NBA trying to help out LeBron James and Steph Curry like they always do.
What if? What if, Zach?
You had me at what if, by the way. If you start anything off with what if, I'm in. Just anything.
What if, Zach? What if I told you that we already thought this through, and there's going to be a marquee designation for teams that are on national television, and if you're not a marquee team, whatever you want to call it, if you beat a marquee team, guess what?
Extra points?
Extra points.
Ooh.
So this is how you balance it out, is that the Charlottes, the Portlands, the Washington Wizards that are not on national TV a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you hate this idea that the Knicks are always on TV, the Lakers are always on, then guess what? You can get back at them by, if you beat them, you get more points. Balances it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find a way to where like the discrepancy between the Warriors get 24 national TV games this year, and these other teams like might get 1 or 2, but then again, they only have 1 or 2 games against the Warriors. But obviously, the Warriors aren't the only marquee team in the. As long as it's balanced out in a way where it becomes, I guess it has to be even or just close to even. Then like I'm into this idea.
Because there's already built-in advantages for teams. They have these teams that are in marquee markets, and they get, more consideration in free agency, or players want to go play for those marquee franchises. And I think we all have to have an understanding that there are inequities. It's not fair. As much as the NBA tries to make a level playing field, it is not a level playing field. Sacramento just isn't going to be.
It also never will be.
Not under this gauntlet system that Nate proposes. Is maybe we level it out a little bit and give some charity to some of the smaller market teams like Utah. When was the last time they got a big time free agent? Was it
Joe Johnson?
Carlos Boozer?
Yeah, Carlos Boozer, Joe Johnson are the 2 biggest like outright signings.
Yeah,
I think it would be interesting because I think you could do this now. Score it as the schedule as though it were weighted 2 points, right? So score.
I think Tom, you should do this all season. Not to give you work. You have plenty of ideas.
I don't think all season is necessary, but I think
it is to see how different the standings are.
Yeah,
based on this system.
That would be the interesting thing.
I need all 82. And we know
Zach will not review the data until the playoff.
I won't.
Once he listens to the podcast, he will,
or get Tom to talk about it on here at the end of the season.
Once the playoffs start, Zach will write a big thing about how this isn't the real playoffs. It should actually be the Wizards. Because they won that one upset.
Go check out Tom the Finder to find out. Yeah, no, this is
how about this?
Yeah,
Zach, when the playoffs start, you can say, hey, congratulations to the Charlotte Hornets for making the playoffs. And people will be like, what? And they made the playoffs? And you're like, yeah. According to Tom the Finder.
You're opening that email. You're opening that email. I'm telling you. Yeah.
Congrats, Charlotte. That's a headline.
They'd be like, hold on, it's playoffs. What are we talking about?
What?
Because we both know I'm too lazy to do this on my own, right? Like that's obvious. And I got all this extra time to write about Wemby, so I don't really have the professional time to do this. Yeah, so I do need Tom to handle this. But I do think that that's a fascinating idea of like, what does that look like at the end of the season? How much does it mirror what the actual standings are?
All right, where do I start? Do I start with just back-to-backs, second night of back-to-backs?
You got to do the whole thing. You got to do the whole thing. You got to set up the system as it would be.
Yeah, I think you just got to set up the system. I think.
And then it's just charting it.
Backs, national.
You're
TV
just filling in
games.
results, and then it's populating itself, right? I'm talking like I know it. Like I know
it. All you do is set it up.
I was like, I think that sounds like a stats term.
Let it rip.
Yeah.
Just press play.
Just press play, guys.
Because other than incentivizing certain situations and decentivizing others, I think the biggest holdup to this NBA Gauntlet is trying to explain it to, let's just say, Nikola Jokic. Hey, Nikola.
Does he even? I mean,
would he care?
Fine, not Nikola Jokic,
because he's going to kill no matter what.
Pick a player. Pick a player, and you say
Kyle Kuzma.
Hey, Trae Young. Guess what?
There you go. That's the name. That's actually
these games are now worth 10 points, and next Tuesday's game is worth 3 points. But on Saturday, that's 15 points, and see if he calibrates appropriately.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Trey, you know how you can't figure this shit out. Well, just win these games. Now you might have a chance to really make the playoffs. Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr. Hey, buddy, guess what? Tonight is very important.
Yeah.
Mike, why don't you ponder this one for me, buddy?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna fly.
Man,
I like it. No, you don't really have to explain. You just say this is a system. Like they explained the play-in tournament and that hey, it's point differential and everything. And even still, then guys were like, I don't know why we keep trying to score at the end of games, right? Like they're either gonna get it or they're not. But if it's there, they'll eventually adapt to it.
Also, what is the in-season tournament? Some games matter, some games don't. What if the in-season tournament always matters? Like in-season tournament, by the way, would get bonus points towards your final total. So in MLS, sorry, not MLS, in the PGA Tour, they have the FedEx Cup. Right. I'm sure they have a similar thing in NASCAR where there's a season alongside the season that you accrue points based on your finish in certain tournaments or earn in certain races. This is the same thing.
Yeah.
I
like it. I think you just have to I just need to know what the points are, right? I don't think it should be like this one's worth 5 points and this one's worth 20. I think it just has to be a set here's your standard increase, here's your standard, for a win, whatever. Do you get points taken away for a loss? I think that's a good idea. I think you should be punished. I think you should be rewarded for winning, but I also think you should be punished for losing.
Oh, so it's the golf score from Ben Simmons, the free throw line thing. You saw that.
Yeah.
How about we segue there? This seems really mean of the Nets to let this out. So the Nets internally, you've seen this before in practice, and the NBA practices, they have these competitions where they have a little whiteboard, or in the case of the Brooklyn Nets, because they're so fancy, they have a digital TV screen that keeps track of the little shooting competition they had. It was a golf score free throw contest, meaning if you swished it, you got 3 points. If you made the basket, you got 1. But if you missed, you got -1. I think it's something like that.
Yeah.
And Dorian Finney-Smith won the competition, and the scoreboard had Dorian Finney-Smith at, well, I flip it around. -3 points if you swish it, -1 point if you make it, and then +1 point if you make it. So it's like a golf score. Lower is better. And the scoreboard was Dorian Finney-Smith, and then 10 other players, and then at the very bottom was Ben Simmons at 11 points.
You can't let that get out, man. You can't let that get out. Yeah, I mean, especially
now we're talking about it, right? Because now
we're talking about it. I mean, he was set up all I had heard, over the last month is he's back in all-star form. So look out for a big season from Ben Simmons.
People forgot.
People forgot about him. Yeah, you can't let that.
Yeah, so Finney-Smith was at -27. Schroeder was at -21.
Killian Hayes, you're a guard.
Yeah.
What do you? You're a guard. You should be able to shoot free throws. You're that's ridiculous.
We did a pod KOC show, which you can find at Yahoo Sports. We did an episode, and we talked about this for a little bit. And once it got to the Killian Hayes thing, it got very awkward. KOC was like, I don't even know if I could say his name anymore. It hurts too much. KOC, for those who don't know, thought he was the best player in his class, and
proclaimed it often that this was the guy. Who else was in that class?
I can't remember who else.
The Luka Doncic draft or the Anthony Edwards draft.
This was
one of those.
The Anthony Edwards draft. Yeah. So after Killian was Obi Toppin, Denny Abdia, Jalen Smith, Devin. Tyrese Halliburton. That one. That one hurts.
Okay.
Yeah, Detroit could use it.
He's all right. He's all right. Yeah, they could use Denny Abdia. That's
Tyrese Maxey, Desmond Bain.
Blazers' own Denny Abdia.
Cole Anthony,
even Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, over Killian Hayes. Are you kidding me?
Killian Hayes. Do you think this hurt more is seeing this leak out on the scoreboard, or getting waived by the Detroit Pistons before your rookie deal is over?
I think getting signed by the Nets, who are clearly tanking. We're not going to do much this year. Just get us Killian. That's what we need. That's how
Do you
we're going
think
to get
that'd be
Cooper
fun?
Flag.
Do you think that'd be fun? You know, the Athletic is a award-winning
Yeah.
publication.
Thank you. Yeah.
An outstanding outlet of
Mhm.
journalism, integrity,
Yeah.
and values. What if there was a media outlet where it was just tanking? You were just tanking as a writer.
Dude.
Is this your dream?
I would have so much fun doing that. Are you kidding me? Like, this is
Your dream?
you need me to be a dipshit professionally?
Yeah.
And you're gonna pay me? Like, come on. It's what
Just
I've been
your
working
articles
towards my
don't
whole
make
life.
sense. You
No.
stop your article halfway through. You don't
Well, you
even
don't-
finish your sentences.
I was
your
talking about this
typos.
with someone the other day there was a brief time. So I worked at ESPN from 2010 to 2012, and I worked at CBS Sports from 2012 to 2016. In between,
Mike Weisberg with the dagger.
in between ESPN and
mean
CBS Sports, I wrote freelance for Bleacher Report for like 2 months. So this is Bleacher Report 2012.
Oh,
They had
right.
Ethan. They had Rob Mahoney.
Mahoney?
Right?
Yeah.
Mahoney was
I
there.
remember this era.
And so like and so they would assign headlines, and then you had to write an article. Right? And I'm looking at these
And
headlines.
that's normally how it goes, right, Zach?
Is this Pictionary? Is this
Dude,
like
it was nuts, man. And so, but it's like I'm getting assigned these things that I don't believe. And like, look, I can say a lot of dumb things. I believe them all. That's the thing. The smart things and the dumb, I believe them. Like, I'm not going to just say something to say it. Like, I am going to either be smart or be dumb. But I
like
believe
Ricky Davis
everything.
is the greatest player of all time.
He's
the same way that
he's the most pure scorer we've ever seen.
Mhm.
First one to write "get buckets" on his shoes. How many people have done that since? I know I did. You know, like that's the trendsetter right there.
You believe it.
But they would
Yep.
assign headlines, and you had to write and I'm like looking at these. I'm like, I don't believe this shit. Like what they want me to write, I don't believe. And so I think I asked Rob. I was like, yo, man, what should I do? And his advice was literally like, just write it for like a paragraph or two, and then just switch it in the middle of the article. They're not going to read it. Like the people, like the higher ups are not going to they're not going to read or even get it past that point. And so it's literally what I would do. I would write these things, and then like 2 paragraphs in, she's like, but I don't believe that. Here's what I think. Like, and so I kind of think like there's a business model for that, obviously. Or at least there was in 2012. I would love to tank someone's coverage. That would be great. Yeah, maybe the Athletic can be like, we have all this good stuff.
The unathletic. Yeah.
Check out Zach's stuff too.
Zach.
This is
We have a new
I like
vertical at the Athletic, which is just
it's just
Zach's terrible,
what the fuck,
horrible writing can just be deposited right over here.
super incoherent. Yeah, man. Oh my god, that's the dream.
Harrison Barnes is the signing of the summer, the trade of
Yeah.
the summer, and here's why. And why Harrison Barnes is better than Victor Wembanyama. You heard it here first. And Zach Harper. You know what? That would be a fun game. There would be like a Dream Job with what was it? Dream Job at ESPN, the like reality show of
Yeah.
What if we did a dream job of we tested people who wanted to get into the business and just were like, hey, this is the Harper BR Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Harper's gonna give you a headline
Mhm.
and you have to write an article about
You
it.
gotta write it. Yeah.
What would be the headline that if you were the editor of this publication, The Unathletic?
This is why Rudy Gobert needs the ball more.
That article writes itself.
Rudy Gobert, the new Jokic.
Underrated offensive player?
Check out this jump shot from the playoffs.
Look at his form.
I mean, you could cut together a sweet highlight reel of the 7 jump shots he's made in his life. And
Oh my god.
you'd be good
You
to
know
go.
what? I think that would be a Twitter account that I would follow or an Instagram account. is
Absolutely.
Someone just way over the top.
Yeah.
Just a huge Rudy Gobert fan. Way over the top. That would be really fun.
Oh, well, all right. I was gonna. Never mind. I was gonna make a joke. I'm not gonna do that.
So Ben Simmons,
poor Ben Simmons, man. I want him to be good. He was a real everyone made fun of his comments of like, I used to be pretty good, right? Or I'm a pretty good basketball player when I'm healthy. He is like when he's healthy, like he was an all defensive player. He was an all-star. Like he was good. His numbers were gonna put him on pace for the Hall of Fame. Like he had a unique enough game, and then it just it shit the bed. And I don't want him to just be an outright punch. Like we can find. I prefer us to like find new punchlines. Like the Knicks used to be a punchline for everything, and now they're legitimately great and contenders, and it's fun to have them good. I don't want them to just be bad for 20 years and they're always the bad ones, right? It's fun that the Timberwolves are good now. It's fun that the Kings are good now. Like I like the depth in which they can fall into, but I always want to see them climb out. And so I don't want it to just be Ben Simmons the punchline forever. I'd like to see him be good again, and then we can make fun of somebody else who becomes bad.
I think you're right. I think the thing about Ben Simmons though is if he just stopped talking about that, if it went into training camp and he could just be like, "Hey,
Tom, are you saying Ben Simmons shut up and dribble? Is that what you're saying?"
Oh boy.
Yeah. Sounds like you said it, Zach.
Or dribble. Shut up and shoot.
It did sound like I said it.
Let's check the tape on that. Unfortunately, I think the reason that we're still making the same jokes and we're still doing the same stories because he's still getting paid shitloads of money. Like the humility that you're describing, would come with a reasonable contract.
But is that his fault? Shouldn't we be making fun of Philadelphia or Brooklyn? Like, no, it's not. Like he gets paid a shitload of money. This is my whole thing about like a draft bust, right? Anthony Bennett out of nowhere gets picked number one. Number one. No one had that happen. And the Cavs surprise us on draft night, and he gets picked number one. And then we're just shitting on Anthony Bennett for the rest of time because he was bad, rather than be like, yo, the Cavs, what the hell were they doing? That's the Cavs' fault that he's number one. What, he's going to decline it? Like, that's crazy. I'm not saying there shouldn't be expectation with certain selections, and there should be expectation with certain contracts. But I don't fault a guy getting paid a lot to be bad. It's my dream. Like I'm never going to fault a guy for doing that.
He made $16 million in his NBA career.
Anthony Bennett?
Yeah.
Damn. He's a nice guy. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Ben Simmons thing, he signed his contract in 2021 or 2021 season. And he gave us that year was his last functional year.
Yeah, and then the Hawks thing happened, and
basically
he got
out,
bus, and then he hurt
and then
his back,
he played 33 games after that, and then he played 12 games after that. And now we're going in, or he played 15 games after that. Now we're heading into this season. So
yeah,
I mean, is it?
But he has been legitimately hurt.
Fault, like.
Right.
Like he has a back injury. He has a back nerve injury. Now you could say like be tougher or whatever, but like a back injury is pretty serious.
Well, I also think that Ben Simmons, a lot of it is not a physical ailment, but a yips situation. I think there is a genuine affliction that he's dealing with that he can't shoot in games. Because there's all these workout tapes of him hitting jumpers, fadeaway jumpers, and hitting threes.
Trust me. I've been on the internet in August. I know, like this.
Yeah.
It's
the bounce is year round, baby.
Yeah.
I've been around the block a few times in the NBA writings. It's been 7 years of writing about hey, maybe Ben Simmons.
Hey, maybe Ben. You know, you never know. Look, if I told you I got a guy who plays 36 minutes a night, he averages 9 points, 12 rebounds, 8.5 assists. You'd be like, that's a good player, right?
Yeah, it sounds like
that's a good player. Those are Ben Simmons per 36 minutes last year. Those are his numbers. Now, granted, he played 12 games and he can't play 36 minutes.
Yeah, how many minutes he actually hit in a game, though?
Yeah,
I mean, like I want
Boban
him
is like the number one PER in NBA history, by the way. Just
as he should
record.
be.
I want him to do well, but I want him to do well and be of value on a contract, because as long as he's getting paid like a max player,
But are you
you
rooting
keep
for the
hoping that
Nets? Why do you care if he's getting the proper value?
Well, no, but you're saying like you kind of hope that he does well this year. Like I'm okay with the Ben Simmons like rejuvenation next year when
You just want him to get paid less.
Well, it's kind of like with Russ, right? Like
Yeah.
Russ, once he realized that he's not a max guy anymore, we kind of stopped shit talking. Like, oh, Russ is.
If you heard his comments out of Denver, I don't know if he's realized that. I think it's just he got the contract he got.
But we're not like
fading the Nuggets.
The conversation isn't the same around Russ as it was on that last Lakers season.
Sure,
yes.
But are we all just?
There was even Russ optimism when he was good on the Clippers for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he filled that role really well.
So that's what I mean. Is like I think Ben Simmons could do that. But as long as he's getting paid the max, and as long as his attitude hasn't really changed,
his attitude seems great. He's confident,
and he's like, "I used to."
You don't want to be confident.
Remember? Like
he was.
Everybody should be confident, right? You can't make the NBA if you're not confident. But
he's a 3-time All-Star. He made an All-NBA team, 2-time All-Defense, the Steals champ 1 year. You know, we all know that respected title. Steals champion.
It feels like a different lifetime.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. Oh, don't get me wrong.
It feels like a
Ben
lot.
Simmons in the Greg Monroe Hall of Fame
Yes.
where you find out that Greg Monroe's like 33, and you're like, what?
This is my favorite annual thing of Greg Monroe. How old is he? He is 34. Jesus.
4 years younger than
34.
34, Greg Monroe.
What?
It's the best game. Andre Drummond's in there where you're like, Andre Drummond's at least 38, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, he's
nope. No, he's not.
Another one of these.
Andre Drummond's
30. Andre Drummond's 31. Andre Drummond is 31 years old. That is insane. That feels wrong. That feels like I need to write.
Dion Waiters hasn't played since 2020. He's 32.
Wow. Man.
He last played 4 years ago. He's 20. He's 32 now. So that's tough.
Derek Favors, 33.
Oh yeah. He's a young one for sure. Yeah. Also a dude that searches his name on Twitter.
Oh, I didn't know this about Derek Favors.
Oh yeah. Because I tweeted out some stat years ago that was like most missed dunks in the season, like not in a season, but just that season, right? I think like Brook Lopez had missed a few, and Derek Favors was either like tied for number 1 or he was second or something. So I just put that out, and he like responded. I didn't like at Derek Favors, and he didn't follow me. He just responded like something along the lines of like, oh, I wonder what it would be like if my knees were healthy or something. You know, like just some like stat, and then all these Jazz fans like, yeah, what are you doing talking shit about Derek Favors? I'm like, what happened? Like it's a stat. It's stat. Make more dunks. I don't know what to tell you. It's not on me.
Tyler Hansbrough, 38. Man, Tyler Hansbrough is a thing.
He feels like he should be 50 to me.
Yeah.
I feel like he should be way older.
Taj Gibson is that guy. He's 39.
Yeah.
He came into the league at 28 years old. So, you know. Did you guys watch Bargatze on SNL?
I saw some clips. I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah.
I saw some funny clips.
He did a couple sportsy things where he did golf. There's a skit where
I saw that one. That one was great. That was a funny skit. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was not too soon for him to come back because I'm a big Bargatze fan. But how many hosts have come back that quickly after hosting originally? Like a first-time host,
especially when he doesn't have like movies to promote or anything, right? Like he's just a stand-up. Like he's great. Yeah. He's really funny. I don't know. Maybe he has a special coming out soon. I don't know. But yeah, he's a great stand-up. But yeah, it's not like he's got like, all right, this rom-com now that I'm in. I need to promote that.
I think his George Washington thing was a big hit for them, and that's partially
that
why.
Was that was super funny. And
the reprise was good too. They brought it back, and it was very strong.
Was that the one about the dozen? 12 is a dozen. We're gonna have a different name. for that one number. Yeah, that was funny.
But he, the one thing that really hit home for me as a dad with a preschooler and a second grader, he was like, and we will have grades for every child, 1 through 12. Oh, the first one is going to be called kindergarten, and the second one is going to be called first grade.
Yeah.
And
it makes no sense.
What? And then the 12th grade, we're going to be calling it the dozenth grade, right? And he's like, no, we're not. Why would we do that? So, yeah, kindergarten. Why does kindergarten? Why don't we just start it at first?
Hey, speaking of kids, speaking of dads and kids, Bronny and LeBron got in their first game together. Now it's preseason, doesn't count, but we still get a moment. We still get shots of them together. We get pictures and all that stuff. Let me say this. I think it's cool. I think if you're mad about it, stop watching so much coverage of Bronny and LeBron. You can kind of control what you consume. My cold, dead, cynical heart even was like, this is a cool moment. I can't wait for it to happen in an NBA game. I won't care after that. But just that moment of like, this is history. Like, we have never seen this. Just because we've been talking about it for 4 years, and LeBron said Bronny's better than all these bums out here a couple of years ago. Like, it's still a cool thing. It's still history when it does officially happen. I'm here for it.
Do you think that was like a rehearsal, like a dress rehearsal?
Absolutely.
Do you think they were like, ooh, we should probably run a different play?
I was arguing about this
with an easy bucket
with Amin on the radio maybe a few weeks ago, where we started talking about when's this going to happen. I said opening night. Night, they're going to do this. And he's like, no, it's going to be months from now. He's going to be in South Bay Lakers. Everything. Like, no, you have to get it out of the way, because if you're 10 games in and it hasn't happened yet, now you have this unnecessary distraction of asking JJ Redick, who's already getting real cute in these interviews, these media scrums. He's trying to get real cute, which I'm not a fan of.
Game one has not happened yet. Yep.
Yeah. Like, I like JJ. I have no ill will towards him for being a Lakers coach. I like any of that internet bullshit. I'm not here for. But when someone asks him, hey, what does Rui Hachimura have to do to take the next step? And he's like, well, what's the next step? And the guy's like, I don't know. He goes, well, you're creating this narrative. Like, no. If you don't think, JJ, that Rui is maximize his capabilities, then there is a next step to take, and we can just answer the question instead of being cute about it, right?
JJ's just
there's a reason why Coach Speak exists. There's a reason
for basketball Illuminati to come back. He's got his third eye open all the time.
That's what it is. Which is tomorrow.
The Rui Hachimura truthers out there are trying to catch him in a lie, and he's right. Because if he said the wrong thing, we'd be all over his ass.
You talking big Rui? Big Rui business? Yeah.
Huge.
Big Rui.
Trying
big
to
Japan.
Rui in JJ's coaching career.
Yeah.
Wow.
But this is the thing to me. It was like, no, they have to get out of the way now, like opening night, because then that way it's not a distraction. It's never a question ever again of when's it going to happen. It happened. And now Bronny can go develop. Lakers can go try to win games. Maybe we get an alley-oop between one of them. Like, that's what we need.
Not only do you squash people asking questions about it, but also the games matter a little less, right? Like, if let's say you're 10 games into the season, you're 2-8.
Well, not under the scoring system. It's going to be on national TV.
Well, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
With the scoring system, there's always time to make.
And if Bronny gets an alley-oop from LeBron, extra 10 points. Who says this is rock and jock? Come on.
I do want to talk about these quotes because they both were amusing to me. We got one.
Yeah, the quote.
Well,
I mean, the quotes are. I'm here for the. I'm here for the moments, but the quotes are ridiculous.
LeBron said, "We stood next to each other, and I kind of looked at him, and it was just like, is this the Matrix or something? It just didn't feel real, but it was great to have those moments out there with him."
I bet that's fun. That's nice. That's his kid.
I agree. I think it is. I agree with your sentiment, Zach.
Yeah.
I think it is a very cool thing. Removed from all of the, basketball of it all, just like to have family members playing together, I think is always cool. Like, I think of the Griffeys. I think of Barry Bonds and his dad. Like, that stuff happened in baseball, and it was cool. Him acting like it was a surprise to him, and then he was in the Matrix, though. It's like, LeBron, you've been orchestrating this for about 2 years.
Longer.
You've been orchestrating this for about, I don't know, let's check the watch, 20 years.
Yeah. I think my favorite quote about it, this was from like Media Day, so it's a little old, but he was like, "Oh, I knew when Bronny was 5 years old, he was going to be in the NBA." I was like, no, you didn't.
Oh, that seems like one
you
put
didn't.
into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that one.
That's
That's
not exactly true.
But there's got to be something to it of like, even if you were on SNL, for example, and you were rehearsing all of the things, and then suddenly you're up there on stage and the lights are on, you're like, holy like, I feel like I'm in the Matrix right now. This doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
I get that. We're like, even if you're preparing, right, Maze, even if you've been orchestrating this and in the workshop to get this done, or the shop, shout out to the shop and check it out on YouTube. Is it on YouTube? I have no idea.
Why did he promote
that? On
Max?
Is it on Max now?
It's on Max. Was it always on Max?
It was. It was an HBO show for a while there, but
is it not anymore?
I don't know.
855 NBA jump if you know where the Max is shown.
This has been going
on. Or no, you know where the shop is shown.
Okay. Here's Bronny's quote. Sounding like a kid. I'm always thinking about, that's my dad, because that's literally my dad. So I just go out there, and when I'm playing, he's just my teammate. That's all I'm thinking at that point.
All right. Yeah. I like it. I'm here for
it. Because that's my dad.
Yeah.
That's my dad.
My dad, yesterday, I told Mazes, Tom, you know my dad, or you know my stance on Bob Costas, right? I'm out on him. I've been out on him for years. I think Bob Costas is a look at me Louis hack. My dad, unprovoked, was just shitting on him in text messages last night.
Oh yeah,
just absolutely, and it made me so happy. There's, I've never doubted that I am the offspring of my parents. I'm very similar to both of them. I take a lot of their traits. But two moments. One, last night, my dad just starts texting me like, this Bob Costas guy. I'm not, he's real upset about Bob Costas out of nowhere. And I don't think he remembers that I feel that way about Bob Costas. I don't know if he ever knew. And then the other one is a story I've told before, but my mom just randomly one day, I was hanging out with my parents and she's like, "Oh, Bill, like, what's that fucking dumb movie you made me watch?" "Oh yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space." Like, and it was just that. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely like, these are my parents for sure. These are biological parents. Like, this is it.
Bob Costas was openly
rooting
for
the Yankees.
Openly telling the audience it's not Giancarlo Stanton's fault that he dribbled into a double play.
Yeah, and
rounded out into a double play.
Like,
it's not his fault. And I'm like, bro,
sure is. He's the one that fucking dribbled it to the goddamn shortstop.
There's a guy on first. Don't hit it to the shortstop. You're gonna have a double play.
Quit just trying to pull everything into the left field stands. Like, be a hitter.
And Stanton, why are we feeling bad for Stanton? Again, the Ben Simmons rule. He's making ungodly amount of money. He's on the New York Yankees, and he grounded out in a big moment. You don't need to throw charity. It's not his fault. Come on now, Bob.
What kind of year did he have this year? Ooh.
Did you catch the other one where he was a hot mic situation on the?
No, I don't know if I caught that one. I just saw saw the Stanton one.
He apparently was supposed to do an ad read for CNN. And he's like, "Do I have to do?" He was like, it was in the middle of the game. He was like, "Do I have to do this for CNN? This read for CNN? Well, this puts me in a really bad position." I was like,
I mean,
this is like if you and I were on air like together.
At home, Tom Brenneman is just like, come on, say it. Come on, say it. Come on, say it. Please.
So close.
And then somewhere, Nick Castellanos hit a home run.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I'm here for the
fly ball to left field.
I'm here for the Bronny LeBron thing. When it happens, and then I don't care anymore. Unless Bronny's good. If Bronny becomes good, then I'm here for it.
What if Pelinka comes down and is like, we got to justify our draft selection here?
He should start opening night. Get it out of the way immediately. That's what
I do. A Mikal Bridges, Drew
just
Holiday,
say, hey,
where it's like,
D'Lo,
all right, got my starting. We did the moment. All right, I'm going to go to the bench.
No,
I think he just leaves. I think he just
minutes.
goes to South Bay at that point.
Just have a car ready to take him right over there. I think like you just tell D'Lo, you're like, hey man, we need you to like have a hamstring injury tonight, okay? And you'll be back next game. You'll be starting the rest of the season, but we need to get this out of the way.
And D'Lo says, no problem. I got you. All right. Zach, you said you wanted to save this for later, but I think we need to strike while the iron's hot. We'll close out with this terrifying John Gruden TikTok experience. Tom, have you seen this? Have you heard about this, Jay Leno style?
Heard about it.
Okay.
I have no idea what's happening here. I have no idea. So
John Gruden's on TikTok. That's what you need to know. And here we go.
Former NFL coach. Yeah.
You know what I was calling?
Oh my God.
Our quarterback shredded the defense. I mean, just ripped them. That's what has me feeling really nicey. Like watching Jared Goff go 18 for 18, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Got me feeling nicey.
I couldn't do that pregame warm-up. Ho! Jaden Daniels, just a rookie, 26 out of 30, 87%, 231 yards. He rushes for 47. He's doing everything. Shredded, baby. Ho! CJ Stroud, 345 yards, brings the Texans back, wins it at the buzzer. Shred him, Stroud. Ho! Baker Mayfield, coming off a tough loss, 345 yards in the hot, humid Tampa Bay weather. Heat them up, Mayfield. Keep shredding them, baby. Ho! Sam Darnold. Who'd have thought the Vikings would be 4-0? 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Go to Lambeau Field and win again, baby. Keep it rolling, Sam. Shred them. Ho!
I know there's a lot going on. The lighting is killing me. He looks like he's in a dungeon with a flashlight on him.
He's sweating.
He's sweating so much. I don't understand what this bobbing is. Like, I don't know what that is. That's upsetting. I don't know what's going on here. I don't like it.
It's very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Watching that whole thing, I felt like I need a shower. I might need to bring a plastic baggie into the shower because I need to break some news. Basketball Illuminati tomorrow.
I mean, if you guys don't have this all over Basketball Illuminati, I don't care that it's not basketball.
I mean, you're the producer.
This is, I know, but you guys only follow whatever I script so much, you know? This is uncomfortable. I don't like this being on the screen.
Okay.
Can we get
Yeah,
this on the
that's
screen?
really
Oh,
not
God.
okay.
I think I am sweating right now. I think I'm sweating by watching that. It was exhausting.
Do we think this is a
Yeah.
one-take endeavor, or are there outtakes?
I don't know. I gotta, as a producer,
Mayfield.
Because there's no cuts there, right?
they only cut to the other camera, which is like right up in his fucking face.
Yeah, but I guess that
So
could
theoretically
be. Okay.
could be hiding some shit in there, but it seems like
Cocaine.
That doesn't seem like it is cocaine, but it seems like he's
Allegedly.
producing this shit himself.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Has he been doing this entire season and only now we're finding out about it?
Great question.
Yes. Because those were like last week's reactions.
Right. Yeah.
How did this not become a thing week 1? Like
Great
this,
question.
Because no one was fucking watching it.
this
And
is
then
the
Austin
algo
Gale,
finally
Austin
kicking
Gale
in.
from The Ringer posted it on Twitter, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh God!"
Well, guess what? Got a follow from me. I'm in.
There you go.
Like,
Zach's in.
It's Gruden loves football. On
All
TikTok.
right. Here's how we take this over to the NBA side. Who would you want to do this? Like, who do you think would be the John Gruden of the NBA? That would be the best. Tom Thibodeau's already the
Great
coach,
question.
but I feel like
I don't
think
he's got the personality for it outside of a coaching scenario. You know, You need someone who is like psychotically wired.
Does it need to be someone who's been exiled from the league?
I think
Are we going current coaches or just anybody?
any coach, just like, is it Scott Skiles?
Sam
Do you think,
Hinkie started making these videos.
Oh wow. See,
He's not successful
think-
enough. Like Gruden was really successful in
Yeah,
multiple ways, right? Like on TV and as a coach.
So you need somebody who's been a
wouldn't it-
TV personality, been a coach.
I mean,
Van
wouldn't it be great
Gundy.
if Jeff Van Gundy did it? Yeah.
What would be great is if one camera angle is Jeff Van Gundy, and then you cut to the other one and it's Stan doing the exact
Yeah.
same shit.
If it's
And it
the
just
Van
but you
Gundy
never
brothers,
explain that it's the two of them doing it.
I'm in that. There it is. The
It's
Van
like-
Gundy
it's like-
brothers together.
Yeah.
I mean, Stan has done, like, he did the little Detroit like bicycle photo shoot that, like,
Yeah.
he was
Mhm.
it was a bit like, we can make this happen. I feel like
For sure.
we need to get
He did that whole
Levitard on
thing
the
with
phone.
he did that shit with Amin, right? About training for American Ninja Warrior the second time he went on. Like he's
can
into
make it
he's
happen.
Yeah. He's game.
he's into this stuff. Yeah.
One
Andrew
last-
Wiggins, 27 points, 9 of 12 shooting. Wow.
Yeah, what's I mean, do we just steal it? It's like shredded the defense. Like that's what it's gotta be, right? It's just gotta keep the key word there is
Barbecue
shredded.
chicken.
Oh, now you're getting into Shaq territory. Although that show's about to be off the air. Maybe we do. Maybe we
Can
do
I
that.
pitch you guys an alt? And it'd be a different vibe because it'd be a
Yeah.
different substance.
I got an alt
Don-
too. That's Don Nelson.
Don
is
Nelson.
Exactly what I thought. Yes, exactly what I thought.
Don Nelson's weed dungeon.
Seth Curry, 1 for
Steph
3
Curry.
from 3-point land.
Yeah.
Planet Center.
Yeah.
Smoked him.
Yeah.
Smoked them. Oh, there.
There you go.
Just obscure players.
All right, everybody. Thank you for if you're still watching or listening after the John Gruden experience.
Oh my God.
you for-
Wow.
Take a cold shower and make sure you're getting ready for Basketball Illuminati tomorrow. Subscribe, like, share, all that shit.
Who are we gonna get? We gotta get someone to